Before you scroll, before you decide this is just another love story, ask yourself one question: what if the person everyone overlooked turned out to be the one who changed everything? Stay with me until the end, because this story is not about beauty, or titles, or power. It's about worth, courage, and a choice that shocked an entire kingdom. And if stories like this move your heart, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because your support helps bring more powerful stories like this to life. The great hall fell silent when the Duke of Ravenshire arrived. His boots echoed against marble floors polished by generations of servants who feared his name as much as they respected it. He was young for a duke, tall, sharp-eyed, and burdened with expectations heavier than his crownless title. This visit was not for pleasure. It was duty. He had come to choose a bride. Lord Halstead stood stiffly beside his two daughters, sweat beading at his temples despite the cold. This marriage would save his failing estate. There was no room for sentiment, only strategy. Remember, he hissed under his breath, leaning toward the Duke with a practiced smile, take the pretty one. Everyone already knew which daughter he meant. Ilara, the younger, stood straight-backed in a silk gown the color of spring roses. Her face was delicate, her smile rehearsed, her eyes trained since childhood to please. Courtiers whispered that she could turn any man's head without trying. Beside her stood Marin. Marin wore a simple dress, carefully mended at the seams. Her hair was neatly braided, but no jewels adorned her. She had been beautiful once, some said, before sickness took her mother, before grief hollowed her eyes, before years of being told she was less taught her to look down instead of up. She was the rejected sister. The Duke's gaze passed over Ilara as expected, but then it lingered on Marin. That single pause sent a ripple through the room. Marin felt it immediately, that strange awareness of being seen after years of invisibility. Her heart began to race, not with hope, but with fear. Being noticed had never ended well for her. The Duke stepped closer. Tell me, he said gently, his voice calm but curious, which of you keeps the estate accounts? Lord Halstead laughed nervously. Oh, that would be Marin. She has a head for numbers, nothing more. Ilara is the one you truly want to know. Marin flinched at the dismissal, but said nothing. She had learned silence was safer. Yet the Duke turned to her fully now. Is that true? Marin hesitated. No one ever asked her directly. Yes, Your Grace, she said softly. I manage the books, the harvest tallies, the debts. I try to keep us afloat. Try, he repeated. She met his eyes, surprised by their kindness. We would have failed already if not for careful saving. Ilara shifted, irritation flashing across her perfect face. The Duke nodded slowly. And do you wish to be married, Marin? The room seemed to hold its breath. Her father's eyes burned into her back, a silent command not to embarrass him. But Marin answered honestly. I wish to be useful. I wish to matter. The Duke smiled, not the polite smile of court, but something real. Then you already do. Gasps followed when he turned to Lord Halstead and said, calmly and clearly, I choose Marin. The words landed like thunder. Ilara cried out in disbelief. Lord Halstead went pale. Your Grace, surely you jest. She was not meant. She was not meant to be chosen, the Duke finished quietly. Perhaps that is exactly why I choose her. That night, Marin wept alone in her chamber. Not from joy, but terror. She had been rejected all her life. How could she suddenly be chosen? What if she failed him too? The weeks that followed were cruel. Courtiers whispered. Ladies mocked her plainness. Even servants pitied her. Ilara barely spoke to her, wounded pride turning sisterhood into ice. But the Duke never wavered. He spoke to Marin as an equal. He listened when she explained trade routes and grain shortages. He trusted her judgment. Slowly, painfully, Marin began to stand taller. On the journey to Ravenshire, disaster struck. Bandits attacked their caravan, and chaos erupted. Horses screamed. Guards fell. In the confusion, Marin noticed something the others missed. The attackers were blocking the road toward a ravine. She screamed a warning, grabbing the Duke's arm, pulling him back just as a carriage tipped and vanished into darkness. That moment changed everything. Later, by firelight, the Duke looked at her with something deeper than affection. You saved lives today. Marin shook her head. I only paid attention. He smiled softly. That is your gift. At Ravenshire, Marin faced her greatest challenge yet, ruling beside him. Nobles tested her. Merchants tried to deceive her. Advisors ignored her words until she proved, again and again, that wisdom did not need beauty to be powerful. When famine threatened nearby villages, it was Marin who restructured grain stores. When trade collapsed, it was Marin who negotiated fair terms. Slowly, respect replaced ridicule. One evening, standing on the castle balcony, Marin confessed, all my life, I was told I was second best. The Duke took her hand. All my life, I was told to choose what looks right. I chose what felt right. Years later, when people spoke of the Duchess of Ravenshire, they did not speak of her looks. They spoke of her heart. Her strength. Her kindness. And Alara? She eventually understood. Beauty fades. Worth does not. Marin never forgot where she came from. She ensured no child in her lands ever felt invisible again. So if you have ever been overlooked, underestimated, or told you were not enough, remember this story. Sometimes, the one the world rejects is the very one who changes everything. If this story touched you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps.